Okay, we know how to create an instant report based on one table. What if we want to base it on two tables? Well, first of all, in order to create a report that includes more than one table, again, you can create a query that will include many tables, and also remember that those tables have to be related, either directly or indirectly. The other option you have is if you don't want to create a query to be able to pull in more than one table, and based on that query, you can use the report wizard. And again, Microsoft loves wizards where it asks you a bunch of questions, you give it the answers, then boom, it creates, in this case, a report for us. So what I'd like to do is I want to create a report that includes the department codes from the departments table and then the computers. So I can basically find out what the total cost on the computers we spent for each department, let's say. So do I have them related? Let's go to our Database Tools tab, come and click on the Relationships button. We got the computers here, and we got our relationships. Where's the departments? Right there, departments table. So it's not directly linked, but it's indirectly linked through this little codependent table, as it were, the employees. So let's go ahead and close out of the relationships, and as long as it's indirectly linked, we can create a report here. So to get started, we'll click on the Create tab here, come to the Reports group, and click on the Report Wizard. Okay, what I want to do is the first table or the field I'd like to see here is the department code, so I'll click on the drop down arrow. I'll go to the departments table. Okay, again, it's listing all the tables and queries because we can base reports off of either a table or a query, which is nothing more than based on a table itself. And queries can include one or more tables. So we'll do the department table here. I want the department code, so I'll double click to add it over to the right hand side, okay? Or you can use these arrows as we talked about when we were using the Forms wizard. And then after I add it, I want to click on the drop down arrow here and go to the computers table, and you see how the department code's still there? That's good. Now I can add additional fields here. Let's go ahead and double click on the asset tag, the manufacturer ID, the date received, and also the purchase price. So that's what I'd like to see in my report. Basically by department code. I may want to group all these by department code. So for department code 100, which is, I can't remember, human resources, it'll have a list of all those computers there by, again, the barcode, asset tag, the manufacturer ID, and so forth. So all I have to do is click next. And then you can see by default, department code, you see how it's up at the top here in this preview screen here, department code. In other words, it is grouping by department code. It's saying all the data is going to be by department or department code. Like in department 100, if we have 3 employees that are in that department, it'll group them all under that code there and then give us the data back in a report, okay? In fact, when it says how do you want to view your data, you can do it by the computers table. When you select that, then it dumps it all together, so it's not grouping by department code because in the hierarchical structure it's not up at the top here in a separate little field and then this indented underneath. This is all lumping it together. So if I say look, I want it to by department, it's going to have its like parent to child relationship. Here's where the parent is, and it's going to group everything underneath them here as their children, or in this case our data, by department. So that looks good. I want to group it by department, so I'm going to click next. Then it's going to say, do you want to add more groups? In other words, I already have it grouped by department code. Do I want to go ahead and group it after by department by asset tag or by barcode? No. By manufacturer ID? I guess. I mean, so we have our department code 100. Let's say we have 20 employees in department 100, you know, maybe human resources. And then we create an additional group by manufacturer ID. If I double click and add this over to the right, then that means after I group it all by department code, then it's going to be grouped all by manufacturer. So if I purchase a lot of computers, let's say 10 from HP and then another 10 from Dell, it'll group those by manufacturer. And you can see the hierarchical structure first by department, then within department it's going to separate them by manufacturers or group them by, and then give us all the data below. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to go ahead and double click on that field and just dump it back out as a level that I don't want to include as far as grouping goes. So I'm going to go ahead and click next. Basically I get 2 options here. I can sort my records and also get summary options for sorting. I can pick a field that I want to sort by under that grouping. I want to sort them all by asset tag, barcode, it doesn't make sense. Manufacturer ID, I guess, you know, all the way from Dell begins with the letter D down to HP, ascending, or I can click the button, choose descending. Not interested really in sorting right now. Let's look at the summary options. Click on the button here and it's telling me purchase price is the only number field that I can perform calculations on. All the other fields are basically text box fields. And so it's saying, what summary values would you like calculated? Well, it brings up purchase price. That's the only number field here. And I can either sum it, average it, minimum. I'm going to go ahead and check the box summary. So I can get the total sum for the purchase price in each group. So I can say, look, we spent, you know, $5,000 in the Department of Human Resources, or Department Code 100, or 200 the IT. So that's fine. I'll click OK. Then I'm going to go ahead and click Next. How would you like to lay out your report? And you can look in the preview here and just come over here to the layout options block, and you can look at the fields down below, outline, how it gives us the hierarchical structure, the outline, grouping it by over to the far left, the mid group in the middle, and then all the details over to the right. I'm going to go with block, where it's just actually blocking it together here, as you can see, and then the page orientation, which is portrait or landscape. Click next. What type of style do we want? I mean, you can come in here and click on the different styles and look over here in the preview for the style, the different colors, different sizes of font and things. I'll choose Concourse, see what that looks like. Click next. Then I come to the end of the wizard and it says find what's the name of this report. The first table I selected was the department tables, so it's just going to give me that, and I don't want it to be that, so it's going to be, remember, the 3-letter prefix RPT is the first thing I'm going to type in there, then I'm going to give it the name. Because the RPT is going to identify to me later on when I'm working in the design view where I'm pulling my data from. And we'll just call it purchase data or purchase info. Then the two options, I can either generate this report, open it up in preview so I can look at it, or open it up in design view. When I click finish, it dumps it in design view, and I can make additional designs to it, but I don't want to go into design right now. I just want to click on the drop down arrow and go back to report view so we can actually take a look at it and see if we're happy with this. So the purpose of the report wizard, as we decided, is we're going to group them by department code. So there's one group. It pulled all the employees in the department code 100, and then department code 200 and 300. Then it actually gave us the data within that group for each employee. We didn't list the employee's name because the purpose of this was just to get the purchase price so we can get the total right here. Because remember how we checked that little box in the summary options? We want the total purchase price for each group. Well, it didn't say for each group, but that's what we did is we first said that we want it grouped by department code. So in this group, we went ahead and we said we want the summary for everything within that group based on the purchase price field. So the total of these three fields is $5,649. And then it gives us little details. Summary for the department code is 100, gives us 3 records, and here's the sum total here. Of course, we can hide that in the design view. We can get rid of that without seeing that because that just kind of clutters up the report. I don't really need to see it. There may be times when I do. Scroll down and, I mean, that's great. And if you get some of the fields that are cut off and things like that, again, the design view will take care of all that. How many pages is this going to take up? Again, you can change your view. Click on the view button, go to print preview. Looks like 1 page. Click on the center of the page to zoom out so you can get an overall view of it. Got page 1 of 1. You can see it down at the bottom. When I click on it to zoom in, click on it to zoom out, and it's got the date and looks okay. And if it's not good enough for you, or my taste in this case, I can click on it to zoom in and get rid of the title here, RPT, delete that, rename it, and call it purchase info or something like that. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel, get notified of the latest videos, and for only $2 a month, you can have access to all my Microsoft Office training videos.